Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another session of our Back to Basics Nutrition series. My name is Brenda Holt, and I am the Associate State Director for Community Outreach and Advocacy for AARP. We are the largest nonprofit, nonpartisan agency in the nation. So, this is Brain Health Month, and AARP has lots of resources and activities we can invite you to check out. And you can do this by visiting our website at staying sharp at aarp.org. Again, that's staying sharp, one word, at aarp.org. There you will have access to brain assessments, articles, challenges, and activities to learn more about developing some lifelong healthy habits at any age. Joining us today is Coach Sherry Ann. Good morning and welcome. So, what are we going to be learning today?
Oh, we're just going to be giving some tips, talking about the importance of brain health, why we want to put it at the forefront of our mind, because there's so much information about heart health. It's promoted well and it's well received, but it's unfortunate that we don't talk very much about brain health. So we're going to be talking about why that's important today, because we want it, the biggest thing is there's a lot of stigma and a lot of fear with people when it comes to dementia. There's so many doctors. Actually, it's been proven that doctors have a hard time even talking to their patients about it. And patients have a hard time going in and asking questions about it because there's just a lot of stigma and fear about losing your independence, your financial stability and things like that. And so it's really important that we get rid of that stigma and just address the fear.
Okay. All right. Well, where did the term like brain health, come from? Do we really even know how we got to that point, to talk about brain health?
I don't even really know where it started from, but the thing is it's become more and more prevalent of studying the brain health and what goes into it, because there's actually a lot that goes into brain health. And one of a great resource that I've been using, as well as just different information online and doing all of my research, but there's a wonderful book out there that I'll just go ahead and throw out there right now. And I know that you guys have promoted him quite a bit, but Sanjay Gupta's Keep Sharp book.
Yes.
It's really, really well written, and there's a lot of information. And one of the things that I really appreciate about it is the implementation. Okay. Because people can be given information, but then what are they supposed to do with it? Okay. And so he creates a 12-week program in the book that you can follow to help improve your brain health, to keep you sharp. And so that's one of the things that I love most about it, is the implementation, because that's really where we're going to see success and see change.
Okay. All right. Well, I know that, we did feature him. And, one of the things he talked about, too, when he was with us is that sleep, also plays a large part in our brain health. And he admitted that was one of the things he was lacking, because he was doing so much running around. So sleep, how does sleep really, play into brain health?
Oh gosh. Okay. So that is one of the tips. And so we can just dive right into that one, and then I can circle back around, because there's so many things to cover. And I see all these people popping in and saying where they're from.
Yes. Well, let's acknowledge them really quick, Sherry.
Yes,
so we've got Millie from Texas. We've got Karen from Tucson. We've got, wow, they're coming in so quick, I can't keep up. We got Kathy from Florida. We got Cheryl from Morris Plains, New Jersey. We've got those from Amado, Arizona, if I'm saying that correctly, not sure. Salt Lake City. Well, thank you guys for joining us. This is fabulous. Wow. Sherry Ann, you see, you're getting very popular. Now, we can no longer just keep you for ourselves in Arizona, huh?
Okay. I love to serve. I'm definitely a servant leader, so I love to serve. So I'm very grateful to be here. So before we jump into sleep, I do want to, like you said, where does brain health come from? And I want to talk about what is brain health. And so it's a person's ability to function well in a daily life and work environment, and making wise decisions, solving problems, and interacting socially with people, and having emotional balance. Like, most people don't think about interacting socially and your emotional well-being being part of brain health, but it very much is. And so it's all encompassing when we talk about brain health. There's so many things that go into it. It's not just a matter of being able to remember things. Most people think that once their memory goes, like that's That's all that brain health is, but it's not just that. It's all encompassing. It is solving problems. It is memory, but it's also your social interaction and your social connection with people and your emotional well-being. So, and why is it important to keep it healthy? Because this is the command center for our entire body. Okay. Everything that we do generates up here. If you want to move a limb, you're sending a signal from your brain to that limb to move it. If you want to lift a finger, like the brain's got to be able to do everything. And our hippocampus is where our memories, that's our hub for our brain and memories and how we remember how to do things. It's not just a matter of remembering like where I parked my car. It's remembering how to do things as well. And then having all those pleasant memories that we want to always have in our brain and recall.
Okay, Karen says really quickly, Sherry Ann. Karen says, I'm fascinated by brain-body-mind connection and neuroplasticity. I need your perspective on these other key issues, if you have a little time to spend with that.
Yes. So that actually has to do. So I'll give the 5 tips, and then I'll dive into that question. And it was Karen, right? That was her name. Okay. Yes. So the tips are having an active lifestyle, making sure you get good sleep, eating well, being mentally active, like stimulating your brain, and then remaining socially engaged. Okay. And so, connection is protection, is what they say. And so as far as neuroplasticity, yes, we have the ability to create new neurons in our brain, new neural pathways, And so it is important to create that mind-body connection. And so how that plays into is doing something new. So staying mentally active is not just playing brain games on your phone or your iPad like that, or Sudoku. Those are very linear things. We want to create new neural pathways. So doing things that, like if you've never played the guitar, like for me, I'm learning how to play the guitar, and that's a lot of neuroplasticity because it's 2 hands moving at doing different things. And then if I'm going to try and hum a song along with it, then I've got to think about humming, before I even think about singing it.
Right. So, okay.
It's funny when you're singing a song along to the radio, like how easy is that? But then the moment you got to think about playing an instrument and sing, I have so much respect for musicians. But it's doing things like that, or picking up, learning how to do a new dance. Like go to a dance studio, take your partner and go to a dance studio and learn a new dance. Or just doing any kind of new activity. If you haven't ever really ridden a bike, like learning how to ride a bike. There's so many things. So neuroplasticity has to do with playing and, doing something new that you've never done and creating those new neural pathways to keep your brain stimulated, because we have the ability to create new connections all the time.
Okay. So I'm left-handed. So I've been forcing myself to do things more right-handed. Okay. And I kind of know my brain is like, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be using this hand, but I thought that was a way to also stimulate my brain to say, okay, but at some point, won't my brain get used to that and say, okay, now what else?
It will, but then you can try something else. But like, it's so funny you say that, because like sometimes I'll brush, because I'm right-handed, so I'll brush my teeth with my left hand, and I feel totally lame doing it. Yeah. I just don't have like the same movement. So then I go back to my right, but then I go back to my left. So yeah, it absolutely is just doing things. It would take a long time for you to be able to write fluidly with your left hand, like you do with your right hand. So, just keep doing it. But just challenge your brain. So that neuroplasticity, Karen, yes, absolutely. That's your mind, body, so everything connected. And it's the beauty of it. And one of the things I loved learning was you can create new connections all the time. Like it never stops. And it's a beautiful thing. So it's like you can fight off dementia forever.
Okay. And Cheryl wants you to repeat tip 4. I don't remember what tip 4 was, but she was
staying mentally active.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Which we just talked about.
That one is just stimulating, because your brain is a muscle also. You use it or you lose it. Okay. So definitely. So 4 was just staying mentally active and not just playing. Like some people think that they're just going to download games on their device and do those, or a crossword puzzle. And those are beneficial, but not nearly to the extent of trying something totally new.
Okay.
Totally new.
And Martha wants you to talk about the role that sugar plays in hurting the whole body, including the brain. What about sugar?
Well, sugar is actually very toxic, and it's the most addictive property on our planet. It's so addictive. And sugar actually suppresses your immune system. So it's really important to try to minimize as much sugar as you can. Sugar is also, it deals with your health. If you're consuming a lot of sugar, then you're facing possible diabetes, heart disease, things like that, because everything's connected.
It's connected.
So,
Okay.
but sugar is actually a very toxic material.
It
and
is.
so it's like, so if you're going to do sugar, don't do refined sugar. Do natural sugars, like from fruits. Or if you're wanting to sweeten something, try to think about doing honey or maple syrup or stevia, which is a natural plant. So I'm not telling people to just totally stay away from sugar. Just stay away from refined sugars, So just really monitor your sugar intake.
Okay. And so that's the actual white grain sugar you're talking about staying away from, correct? Okay. But what about when you read the labels on the back of things? What about fructose? And that's a sugar?
Well, fructose is a natural occurring sugar from fruit.
Okay.
So anything that ends in OSE is a sugar. So then what's in front of that tells you where it's coming from.
Okay.
And so fructose is coming from fruit. And, it's just one of those things is, the follow-up to that is, I'm glad that you asked that question, because the thing is 75% of the people that get dementia, it's because of their lifestyle. It's not because of a genetic makeup that they have. So dementia and the decline of brain health is not a gene-related thing. It's how you are living your lifestyle. So it's very important to pay attention to your environment. Very, very important. And monitoring your blood pressure and your cholesterol. And because people that have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, are facing the potential case of diabetes, all of those people are at a higher risk for dementia.
Okay, wow. Well, that's great. That is really great to know. I'm not sure if, we all knew that, that sugar, had, plays a big part in that, and that it is very toxic. So then why does the industry, give us so much sugar? I mean, it's up to us to be, stewards of our own health, but I guess sugar makes it taste better, right? Okay. So
because it comes down to money.
I know.
That's an all candor. That's really what it's like. Why does the industry? Because they can make a lot of money by putting everything if you pay attention, like at grocery stores, because most moms are at the store with their children, and most of that stuff is at a child's eye level.
Right.
And so they are programming people at a very early age.
Okay.
And so it's our job and our duty to be aware and to make better choices. And so, the thing with eating well is, because that's one of my tips. That's the third tip. And how that eating well is so interesting, because so many people kind of flinch at it. Like, what does that mean? Like, how do I do that? And the thing is eating well is just making sure that you're getting the rainbow. I always say eat the rainbow. And it just having lots of color to make sure that you're getting plenty of nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and things like that. Eating whole grains, and eating lean meats. Like the Mediterranean diet is, what Sanjay Gupta really promotes in the book. And that's promoted across Blue Zones. That's promoted across so many different avenues. And really what that is a lot of fruits and vegetables, lean meats, and whole grains, which means when you're going to the store, try to stay out of the middle of the store. Do a lot of your shopping on the outskirts of the store.
Perimeters.
Yeah, keep everything that you're doing in the middle to a minimum as much as you can. And so, but just eating, and healthy fats. Don't avoid fats. We need fat in our diet. It's really, really critical for our organs to function properly, including our brain, to have plenty of fat.
Okay. And Martha says we need to shop mainly food that doesn't come in a box.
Yes.
So that's a good, thank you, Martha. That's a good tip as well. And that's that. Even beans, canned foods, I guess, also, right? Is that another one to kind of monitor? Or
yes, because the sodium level.
Okay.
And here in Arizona, when it's so hot and we're sweating all the time, it feels like, we're not too much concerned for sodium here. But the reality is anything that's in a box or a can has been processed. And when it's been processed, and this is the other thing that's really important that people don't recognize, is when you're eating highly processed foods, you're chewing less. If you really pay attention, you're chewing less. Because if you're eating fruits and vegetables and meats, like you got to chew that food. And whole grains, you even have to chew. You can't mush them up in your mouth and swallow them unless you want to really choke it down.
Right.
But it's, eating processed foods forces us to chew less, which impacts all of our enzymatic releases to digest our food. It also, over the course of time, and I've talked about this in my breathing segments, is because we're eating more and more processed foods, our mandibles are changing, our jaws are changing, and how people breathe, our faces are changing. And so it's impacting our ability to actually breathe appropriately. And breathing is the basis of everything. Like if you can't breathe right, you're not functioning. Okay. So stay away from processed foods. I mean, I could go down that rabbit hole.
On and on. Okay. So Karen wants to know, she said it's okay to eat fruit that has more natural sugar like bananas?
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Because there's a lot of potassium, there's a lot of benefit to bananas. So for some people that are watching their sugars, they will tend to stay away from bananas because bananas tend to be a higher sugar fruit. Okay. So you can do fruits that are, more water, like watermelon. Watermelon still has quite a bit of sugar in it, but it's not as sugared as a banana. Okay. And so I see this question here from Misty. Are the oils in nuts and avocados considered some of those healthy oils? Yes. I love avocado oil. I typically use olive oil. Okay. But yes, the oils from nuts and avocados are all natural occurring. So those are really great. Those are great oils to have. Those are healthy oils, 100%.
Wow.
100%.
Okay, so oils. Okay, because I know you talk about that, and you talk about olive oil a lot. And some of the recipes that we should be cooking in, right? Olive oil is also another good oil to cook in, right? Or cook with.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, so tip one, there's all kinds of questions coming in that I can see all of them. So, Rita, you'll just have to interrupt me and say, let's answer some of these questions.
Okay.
Otherwise.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, we've kind of caught up, I think, for now. I know we were talking about sugar, so what else is probably not good for the brain? What else? What other?
Well, let's finish talking about the tips then. So active lifestyle. So an active lifestyle is really, really important for brain health. And the reason is because exercise increases our blood flow and increases the blood flow to the brain, which also increases the network of blood vessels, which helps creating neural pathways. So exercise is really important and also exercise is going to help you maintain a healthy weight. Okay. So there's all of these things that play in a role. If you're exercising, you're also sleeping better. Everything is connected. So, and if exercise is overwhelming for you to think about getting up and moving, because I really want you just to focus on 30 minutes a day. If you can do 3 times a week, that's great. If you can do 5, even better. And if 30 minutes is too much for you, it's been proven that you can break up that 30 minutes into 3 10-minute increments if you need. 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at lunch, go walk, and then 10 minutes in the evening. But just getting 30 minutes of active moving. And if you can do even more like body weight things, as far as like even just sitting in a chair and standing up, like that activity, but just using your body and moving increases your blood flow, which is just so much better for you all around. And it's going to help with your brain health. So make sure you're moving your body as much as you can. It's okay to park farther away from the door to the store. I know it's hard here because it's so hot, but it's okay. You can walk a little farther.
Get those steps in. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Get those steps in is a big, big thing. So sleep. Sleep is so, so, so very important. If you're sleep deprived, you're not alone. Most of America functions sleep deprived. And what they don't understand is the devastation that actually is creating to their bodies. When we're sleeping, our bodies are repairing itself. Our whole lymphatic system goes into overdrive to like flush out toxins and debris, cellular debris. And they've done studies that they realized that actually they thought the brain wasn't a part of that. Like it just happened, like limped down, but your brain actually washes itself in the evenings. And it's really important because there are these amyloid proteins that build up in the brain. And if you have amyloid plaque, that's what leads to Alzheimer's. And so if you're not giving your brain a chance to wash itself and allow new memories to be filed in the hippocampus, which is our hub, and clear out the debris to make space for new information, because we're bombarded every day with information. So when we're sleeping, not only is our body cellularly repairing itself, but our brain is doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's filing away information, what's important, what's not important, creating memories. And the brain is washing itself of its own toxic, debris that as well, and those amyloids, that it's wanting to wash away. So it's really important that we're getting sleep on a multitude of levels.
Okay.
And I always say, if you're not getting 7 hours, try to shoot for 7 hours as much as you can. Okay. Anything less than that, you're really kind of cutting yourself a little short, because we're being bombarded every day with all kinds of damage that's being inflicted to our bodies, not only physically but mentally.
What about naps? What about taking a nap during the day if you can?
I'm not a napper. I shouldn't say that. I'm very rarely a napper. Every once in a while, I'm like, that sounds really delightful, and I do it because if I'm thinking about it, I clearly need it. Yes, I would say naps are fine so long as they're not disrupting your nighttime sleep.
Okay.
So if you don't wake up rested and you had a rough night sleeping, I would encourage you to go back and think about, what were you doing right before bed? What were you thinking about? Are you sticking to a bedtime routine? Is your room cool enough? I mean, we've done segments on sleep, which just reminds me, for all the viewers, if we have so many on Arizona's AARPs, you can go and search for a topic, and we probably will find a video on it. If not, message me and I'll make it. I'll do a segment on it.
Okay.
I've done a whole one on sleep, because sleep is so critical to our well-being, and it just gets missed because people just take it for granted. That most people are thinking, oh, you know what, it's okay. Like, I'll make up for it on the weekend. And it's like, no, that's not really the case. When you're behind the eight ball, you're behind the eight ball, and you're not, and it's hard to catch up.
Okay. You're sleep deprived. Right. Okay. All right.
So make sure you're getting your sleep.
Okay. Okay. Well, going back to some of the, recipes and things, Kathy wants to know, can you cook with coconut oil and avocado oil at higher heat than olive oil?
Coconut oil? No. I use coconut oil when I'm baking, but if you're talking about like sauteing or frying something in a pan, olive and avocado are your best. Other oils tend to break down, and coconut oil is one of those that's actually a really sensitive oil, is what I like to call it.
Okay.
So I would not recommend doing coconut at a high temp. I would stick to olive or avocado.
Okay. All right. Well, that's also good to know. I'm just surprised at all of the oils that we've come up with over the years. I think we were cooking with, vegetable oil for so many years, or corn oil for so many years, and now we have other alternatives, which I think are also great. And now Catherine, she wants to know, what's your opinion on MCT oil supplements?
I think those are fine. And like I've said before, my thing with supplements is just pay attention to your sourcing. Make sure it's sourced from a good place, because there's so many things that pop up out there in this industry, and the regulations on supplements is not there like it is on our regular food and drug stuff. And so supplements is just one of those things. Just pay attention to where it's being sourced from, and that it's a good source.
Okay.
So, and before we run out of time, I want to touch on our last tip, which is remaining socially connected.
Okay.
Connection is protection, is the saying. And the reason for that is because, and what's so ironic is we're so socially connected because of social media and things like that. But at the same time, it's kind of ironic because we're not. People are not having those authentic connections with people. And so they're thinking that they're socially connected, but they're really not, because they're just doing stuff on this phone or this iPad or their computer. And so being socially connected is such a huge thing for warding off depression and stress. And it promotes, warding off memory loss. And so having authentic conversations and relationships with people promotes memory. Okay. And because when you go to bed at night, like I said, your brain is filing away all of that information, those conversations, and it promotes your memories. And so having social connection is so, so, so critical. And it's sad, like as people age, like when, and I've gone into nursing homes, or I've even talked to other people, and if they're alone, if they don't have family, they decline so much faster. And so it's really critical. And it's just one of those tips that people don't understand or give enough credit to, I should say. And so having social connections and social interactions, and authentic ones, like going to lunch or playing a game with somebody, and that's the other thing about keeping your brain sharp. Like play new games that you've never played before, like cribbage. Like there's so many people I come across that have never played cribbage. I'm like, oh, we're playing cribbage.
Okay.
So it's just like, have fun with, your connections with people. Don't get lost in the electronic devices that we have. Like actually go face to face. And it's nice that we're getting to the place to where we can be socially connected and interacting with people. Because during COVID, it was really a challenge and very difficult for a lot of people because of isolation. And so, but really work at not being isolated.
Okay. Millie says, never played Sibbage. Is it cribbage? She said.
It's cribbage. there's Scrabble.
Okay, right. Okay. All right.
Which I love, because I have a tendency to make up words, and I believe that they exist. I will even give them a meaning.
Okay. Well, that's also triggering the brain. That's triggering the brain. Okay.
As a child, my parents would make fun of me because I would say a word and I wholeheartedly believed that word existed. And they would say, what is the meaning? And I would make up a meaning. It did not exist, but you
made it up.
I did.
And you made it exist. So, okay. Okay, going back to sleep really quick before we do close out. Cheryl says, what about broken sleep? She said several times a week. I sleep for 4 hours, then wake for 1 to 2 hours, then back to sleep for 3 to 4 hours.
So when you're having broken sleep like that, it's really not, you want to try to have a continuous 7 to 8 hours. And when it's broken up like that, you're not doing your whole sleep cycle. And so our sleep, our circadian rhythm dictates how our hormones are released. And we have these hunger hormones, we have our female hormones, males have hormones, like we all have these hormones that get released that manage our entire body. And so those are released based on your circadian rhythm. And so if you're not getting that extended sleep, then your hormones are out of whack. There's so many things that go into play. And so I would encourage you that if you're having that broken sleep, you can do sleep apnea studies. What I have found over the course of helping people with sleep is a lot of it is your body is waking you up because it's hungry, like it needs something. And so you probably didn't eat enough calories throughout the day, or you didn't eat a good enough dinner. It's either that, sometimes it's just stress, and sometimes it's just a matter of figuring out your bedtime routine so that you can have that extended sleep. So I would try to look at what's waking you up. Is it the need to go to the bathroom and then you just can't get back to sleep? Then it's a matter of changing your pattern in the evening when you get up to go use the bathroom. Okay. Like use a red light instead of turning a white light on. Because when people turn a white light on, the brain automatically thinks, oh, sun's up, it's time to get up. Okay. And so using a red light will help minimize that. And so there's a lot of different things that you can do. It's just very, very specific to each person.
Okay. Should you cut off your fluid intake, maybe at a certain time?
That's really hard to say. I know. Here in Arizona, we need to consume a lot of fluid. Yeah, and if you're dehydrated, then your body's not able to flush the way it's supposed to flush. Your lymphatic system is like struggling because there's not enough, because you're dehydrated. And so, no, I don't believe in cutting off fluids. I just believe because your body will get used to the fluid that it needs. And so if you're cutting off fluids and you're creating another deprivation cycle of something. And so, yeah.
Okay. Well, listen,
Sherry, all the questions, because I saw so many rolling in.
Yeah, we know that you're always great about going back and addressing those questions. So whatever didn't get answered today, Sherry Ann will definitely get back to you and give you some more tips and answer those questions because we are right about that time. So now, what can we expect during our next session?
So in 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about healthy movement. One of the tips is having an active lifestyle. And so I'm going to go over what healthy movement looks like. I'll be offering some tips on how to move, especially here in Arizona, because when we get to triple digits, it's a little challenging to get outside and be active. So just healthy movement, the importance of it, why we do it, and what we can do.
Okay. Well, listen, dear, this has been fabulous as usual. I usually attend these and not facilitate, but I had the pleasure of facilitating today for Alex, who will be joining us in some future sessions, I'm sure. But I've learned a lot today. So I really appreciate you, as usual, offering these Back to Basics nutrition sessions for us. And based on the activity that we've heard in the comments and the questions, everyone has also got a lot of information that we can now take with us to use in order to keep our brain sharp. And again, I'll close with saying thank you for joining us today. And that you can also check out Staying Sharp at aarp.org for some more resources. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.